Hi, this is Dr. Culkin, here to discuss the last topic of the semester. The title of Topic 11 is The United States in the 21st Century. The 1990s were a time of prosperity for the United States under the leadership of the Democratic President Bill Clinton, as the stock market soared and the federal deficit was replaced by a surplus. While the economy often dictates the outcome of presidential elections, however, the Democratic candidate Al Gore had other challenges as he faced George Bush in the 2000 election. The scandal surrounding Clinton's affair with an intern made Gore's campaign more difficult, as did concerns about national security and safety following the bombing of a federal building in Oklahoma and the school shooting incidents at a Colorado high school. There was a strong third-party candidate, or a strong third-party campaign by the candidate Ralph Nader. In addition, although Nader had no real chance of winning, he won over some liberal voters who felt the Democrats did not address their concerns. As well as sort of causing Al Gore to sort of switch to the left a little bit to counter the Nader campaign, thus having sort of independent swing voters who might be a little bit more conservative were pushed towards Bush. Although Nader had no real chance of winning, he won over some liberal voters who felt the Democrats did not address their concerns. When the votes were tallied on election night, Gore clearly won the popular vote, but the Electoral College vote was unclear, as the fate of Florida remained undecided. Both sides, armed with lawyers, swarmed on the state. Gore asked for a recount in 3 counties, while the Bush campaign tried to certify the results as they stood, which gave him a lead of just 930 votes. Although the Florida Supreme Court twice ruled to let the recount continue, including one ruling requiring a recount of the entire state, the U.S. Supreme Court overruled that decision, or those decisions, giving Florida and thus the presidency to George Bush. As he took over the country, Bush focused on economic matters. The robust economy of the 1990s was sagging, and he worked hard to get a large tax cut, believing in the principles of supply-side economics, which we discussed last week. Congress offered a stimulus package in which individuals were given $300 each. Bush continued to push for tax cuts in future years, but the economy did also continue to slow, especially in the wake of the terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001. Several major corporations also imploded, the result of suspicious and at times illegal financial practices. As I just mentioned, on September 11, 2001, as most of us surely remember, terrorists attacked the World Trade Towers and the Pentagon by flying planes into those iconic buildings. The attacks were the work of the terrorist organization Al-Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden. Bin Laden had been a part of a group of people who fought against the USSR in Afghanistan in the early 1980s with weapons supplied by the CIA. But he had become angry at the U.S. when the country stationed American troops in Saudi Arabia, his native country, during the Persian Gulf War in 1991. In October 2001, the U.S. began to attack Afghanistan, which bin Laden had been using as a home base. The Bush administration also focused its sights on other areas as well, with Bush calling Iraq, Iran, and North Korea the axis of evil in his January 2002 State of the Union address. In a national security strategy outlined in September 2002, the administration outlined what it saw as the U.S. role as a global policeman, defending freedom everywhere in the world. The United Nations sent inspectors to look for weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, but several countries promised to veto any UN resolution to use end troops to coerce Saddam Hussein into disarming. The U.S. Congress, however, approved a resolution which authorized President Bush to use American forces in the country. In March 2003, U.S. troops invaded Iraq. Within weeks, the U.S. had captured Beirut, although no weapons of mass destruction were ever found. Saddam Hussein was arrested in December 2003 and put to death in 2006. Despite the initial quick progress, stabilizing Iraq was and continues to be a difficult process. Attacks on American troops, sabotage of oil pipelines, infighting between Shiites and Sunnis, among other difficulties, have prolonged the U.S. involvement in Iraq and resulted in a growing cost in terms of the lives and money to the American people. Okay, that's it for this week. Remember to answer the reading questions and to participate in the discussion board. And finally, remember you will need to come to class for the final exam. Consult the announcements page in the email I sent you for information about that final exam. Thank you.